Okay, picture this. One of the internet's most beloved wife guys, the dude who once built his entire career around being the wholesome husband of YouTube, suddenly finds himself in the middle of one of the messiest online scandals of the decade. And now, he's back. Yeah, I'm talking about that guy, Ned Fulmer, the try guy turned scandal headline turned redemption story, or at least that's what he's trying to make it. And this week, he posted a brand new video addressing all the backlash, the noise, and basically trying to explain himself. But here's the thing, the internet isn't buying it. So today we're diving into everything Ned said, what people are really saying behind the scenes, and why his so-called comeback feels less like a second chance and more like a slow-motion car crash you just can't look away from. So grab a snack, because this one is layering with regret, public perception, and a kind of Hollywood irony you couldn't script if you tried. Now, first things first, Ned Fulmer has returned to YouTube. But not with a cooking show, not with a goofy Try Guys-style challenge. No, he came back with a podcast. And not just any podcast, one called Rock Bottom. Yeah, Rock Bottom with Ned Fulmer. It's kind of like calling your restaurant Salmonella Cafe, but hey, at least it's self-aware. In his new video titled Addressing the Backlash, Ned sits down, looks right into the camera, and starts trying to set the record straight. You can feel he's nervous. It's polished but stiff, like he's reading an apology from a teleprompter he's memorized too well. And from the jump, he's walking this impossible tightrope, trying to look humble but not pitiful, accountable but not crushed. He says that after his first podcast episode with Ariel, his wife, he heard the backlash loud and clear. He wanted to share more about his experience, what happened, what he's learned, and why he's suddenly resurfacing after years of silence. Now, if you missed that first episode, it was him and Ariel sitting down for what felt like a couples therapy session with microphones. He said that episode was Ariel's idea, that she wanted to do it, that she's a stakeholder in his new ventures. And that detail, oh boy, it caught people's attention. Because apparently, Ariel owns part of his new projects, the same YouTube channels that used to feature both of them, and even their kids. It's kind of poetic in the we built this together so I still get a cut kind of way. Ned even admitted he's using the same RSS feed from their old Baby Steps podcast, just rebranded as Rock Bottom. So yes, technically, Ariel's fingerprints are still all over his comeback. And people couldn't help but wonder, if Ned were truly starting fresh, on a totally new channel, would she still be involved? Or is this just about keeping what's fair? But here's where things start to twist. In this video, Ned says those viral 15-second clips that blew up on TikTok didn't show the whole story. He's practically begging people to see beyond the edits. Any clip that you see online is just one small snippet of an hour-long conversation and 3 years of trying to work through this. It's a fair point. Context matters. But the internet's attention span doesn't exactly do nuance. And that's the paradox here. The more he talks, the less people believe. Because even though he's asking for understanding, the delivery feels calculated, sanitized. It's like watching someone try to cry while reading from an HR-approved script. And here's what's wild. People did watch that original podcast. They saw Ariel's face. They heard her tone. And they could tell this woman is still hurt. She's composed, yes. Mature, definitely. But forgiving? Not even close. The internet sided with her instantly. Comment sections flooded with praise for Ariel, calling her graceful, strong, even suggesting she should have launched her own podcast without Ned. Imagine the numbers on that. And that's the energy surrounding Ned's so-called return. Because while he's trying to pivot back into being a content creator, viewers are sitting there like, bro, you had everything, fame, family, and the perfect brand, and you blew it for what? To be the solo try guy? And that's exactly what he's doing. His new content looks eerily similar to his old Try Guys projects. The challenge-style setups, the educational meets entertainment vibe. It's basically Try Guys 2.0 minus the guys. He even admits it in this new video, saying that he knows people are calling it a copy, but that this style is just in his DNA. Which, okay, fine, maybe it is. But to the audience, it feels tone-deaf. It's like someone getting fired from a band and immediately going on tour with the same set list, just rebranding it as a solo act. And then Ned dives into therapy talk. He says after the cheating scandal, he went to therapy, did parts work, even joined a 12-step program to understand his behavior. He claims he confronted himself, his patterns, his motivations. He says, quote, "I cheated on my wife with an employee, and it caused her immense pain and shattered our marriage." He's taking ownership, in words at least. He adds that he's been in recovery, trying to rebuild from scratch. But here's where the dissonance hits again. He's confessing to one of the most personal, emotional experiences of his life, but it sounds like he's reading minutes from a corporate meeting. Every sentence feels approved, filtered, like the rawness got scrubbed out. It's not that people wanted a breakdown, they just wanted to feel something real. He goes on to describe how he and Ariel separated, then started rebuilding through therapy. He said he created a disclosure document, voluntarily took a lie detector test, and laid everything out for her. Which, okay, that's intense, but online people couldn't stop commenting that the video felt like a compliance seminar rather than a human confession. It's that uncanny valley of emotion, technically correct but spiritually hollow. You want to root for him, but every line sounds like it was rehearsed by a lawyer. And that's where the internet's judgment hits harder than any PR damage could ever. Because when you build your career on authenticity, when your whole thing was, I love my wife, and that turns out not to be true, people feel personally betrayed. That's the real fallout. It's not just Ariel's heartbreak, it's the audience's heartbreak. Millions of fans who felt like they knew him suddenly realizing they didn't. And the thing about trust online, once it's gone, no amount of editing can bring it back. Still, Ned keeps talking. He says he understands if people judge him off a single clip, that everyone has a choice in what they consume, and if they don't want to engage with him anymore, that's a consequence of his actions. And you know what? That line, that tiny acknowledgement, might be the most honest moment in the whole video, because that's the truth. You can't control redemption, you can only offer it. But what's fascinating is how this comeback has been received differently from other internet apologies. There's no mob outrage, no massive hate train, just a kind of collective meh. A disappointed sigh. People aren't canceling him again, they're just not impressed. And that, in YouTube terms, might be worse. Because controversy can fuel curiosity, but indifference, that's death for engagement. And maybe that's what makes this story so tragic. Ned was part of one of the most successful internet groups in history, the Try Guys, who built an empire on relatability, humor, and moral backbone. They weren't just making videos, they were building trust. So when he broke that, it wasn't just a scandal, it was an identity crisis for fans. They didn't just lose a favorite creator, they lost the illusion that nice guys on camera are always nice behind the scenes. And now, watching him try to claw his way back, there's this strange tension between curiosity and discomfort. Like, yes, we want to see if he'll pull it off, but also every move feels off. Even his new channel name, Rock Bottom, feels like a PR move disguised as self-awareness. Because if you name your show after your downfall, then no one can use it against you, right? It's like weaponizing vulnerability before someone else does. Smart, but also kind of sad. Still, you can tell Ned wants a second chance. He says he believes deeply in the mission of his podcast, that he wants to create conversations about failure, growth, and redemption. And honestly, that's not a bad premise. Everyone loves a comeback story. But here's the thing. You can't make content about redemption while you're still in the middle of earning it. That's like writing a memoir halfway through the plot twist. People don't want to hear you've changed, they want to see it, over time, quietly. What makes this whole saga so compelling is that it's not really about cheating or YouTube drama anymore. It's about how we deal with imperfection in the public eye. When your brand is your personality, can you ever truly separate the art from the artist? Can a wife guy ever just be a guy again? And that's why this story keeps looping back into our feeds. Because it's not just Ned trying to find himself, it's the internet trying to figure out how to forgive. But here's the wildest part. If you look closely, there's this eerie circularity to the whole thing. Ned says he didn't like being boxed into family man content, that he felt producers were forcing him into that role. That's part of what led him to rebel, to self-destruct. He wanted to prove he was more than a husband, more than a dad. But by trying to escape that box, he destroyed the very identity that made him relatable in the first place. And now, years later, he's right back where he started, talking about his marriage, his mistakes, his family. Only this time, it's not curated, it's survival. And maybe that's the ultimate irony. You can run from your image, but you can't outrun your story. So, is this comeback working? Not really. Not yet. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe this version of Ned isn't here to win everyone back. Maybe he's just here to stay, even if the views aren't viral, even if the comments are brutal, even if the redemption arc doesn't land. Because once you've hit rock bottom, and you name your channel after it, there's really nowhere else to go but up. Still, it's hard not to watch this unfold and think about how differently it could have gone. If he had disappeared completely for 5 years, lived privately, done the real rebuilding offline, then maybe, just maybe, a comeback would have felt genuine. Instead, it feels rushed, a little desperate, like someone trying to skip the healing montage and jump straight to the applause. But that's what makes this moment so painfully human. Because haven't we all wanted to fast forward through our lowest points? Haven't we all wanted to control how our story gets told? And maybe that's why people can't quite look away. Because even if they don't trust him, even if they don't like him, they recognize a tiny piece of themselves in the mess. The part that fails, the part that tries to rebuild, the part that wonders if the world will ever see you differently again. So yeah, Ned Fulmer might never get his old audience back. He might never reclaim that golden try-guy charm. But if he's lucky, maybe he'll build something new, smaller, humbler, more honest.